Our Great National Parks premiered Wednesday, April 13th on Netflix. It is hosted by former United States President Barack Obama. 5 episodes. They're roughly like an hour apiece, and they deal with different each episode is about a different national park around the world. What did you think of it?
I enjoyed this show as I think what it's intended to be. It's medium to low investment, watching you just kind of chill, see what's happening on screen.
Yeah.
Obama as a narrator, granted, I'm sure he didn't write it, but the pacing, he just kind of like, they let the scenes really breathe, and like he's like, here's something that's going on, and you just kind of chill, and every so often he'll pipe in.
That's the style of this stuff, how that goes too. You kind of just like set the scene, you know?
Yeah.
And then later on, you kind of close with statements about what you saw, I guess.
Yeah. I think maybe why that stood out to me in particular is because I think every other time I've heard Barack Obama speak, there was continuous words happening, whether it was an interview with somebody or he was just giving a speech, given that he is one of the better speakers of our time. So I think it stood out more that there were these large pauses to let these scenes breathe.
You think it was awkward then?
I don't think it was awkward. I think it was not what I was used to when I hear that voice.
Okay.
I don't think it was necessarily awkward.
Like, did it feel off to you, you're saying? Is that what?
No, I just think that pacing stood out more. So it's not weird that it was just different hearing his voice and a pause.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good and competent narrator. Like, he's definitely not David Attenborough, who does who's done a lot of stuff like this. That guy's the king of the nature docs. They seemingly chose parks in places that meant something to him for the most part. They did Kenya, where his dad is from, Indonesia, he lives as a child.
Yeah, the first episode kind of opened up in Hawaii. He's like, I was born in Hawaii.
Yeah. He's like, I spent time in Kenya. I wasn't fucking born here. I lived in Indonesia. I wasn't fucking born here. Yeah, I was going to say, if you hate Obama, you're not watching this, but you're not going to like this. If you hate the environment, you're not going to like this. But you would hate all stuff like this if you hated the environment. If you don't think climate change is real, you probably won't like this either. And if you fall into the first category, sure. But the other two, please fuck off forever. Like, if you don't like Obama, like, you might have a reason that makes more sense than most people. Like, you're from the Middle East and believe he drone striked your countries to literal oblivion. Which
may have done that.
Which is like, if you don't like him for that reason, sure. Yeah. But if you don't think climate change is real or don't like the environment, then, you're just an asshole.
Yourself. Yeah.
Indeed. Every new nature doc like this is exciting because as time passes, the ways to film things like this get better and better. Cameras get smaller and more remote controllable, and they just get more and more shots. You're like, how the fuck did they even get this? I think drones have gotten smaller and quieter, and like that's why you can get a lot more of these shots. In the Kenya episode too, they used a camera supposedly that allows night vision to be in color. It did kind of look kind of weird, like it was painted, but that was interesting and cool because the most of the shots of the rhinoceros in Africa were at night. But yeah, my only criticism of this is it feels a little wiped clean of the brutality of nature.
I think that's intentional.
Yeah, I think it is too.
I think it's what I said, where it's like you can just kind of chill and watch it.
Yeah, there's like 3 kills across the entire miniseries, and I'm not saying I want a supercut of brutal like animal on animal kills, but I think it's cut more to be more family friendly, which is fine,
and to get you to want to go to national parks, because if you see stuff getting slaughtered at national parks, you're not going to want to go.
True.
National parks are awesome, and people should go to them more often. Don't overrun them, but go to them more often. They're pretty awesome. Like, enjoy that. It's great.
Seemingly a lot of the facts to like the tourism dollars go to really good stuff. Like in Rwanda, it pays the farmers for like crops to get eaten and like they go back into the park and stuff like that to expand it and all that shit. Yeah, I love stuff like this. It's a great watch. It has a message, but all nature stuff does. I'd recommend Our Great National Parks.